Hello. So we're going to start off looking at the modes. Let's take a quick look at how they work. We're going to take the key of C major, starting with a 1-4-5 progression: C major, F major, G major. So with C major, we're going to use the C major chord, the C major scale. When we move to the F major chord, you could use an F major scale, but to keep the key of C major, we're going to have to sharp the fourth. So we're going to have, instead of a B flat, a B natural. And we go to the G mixolydian. We could play a G major scale, but we would have to flat the F sharp in order to keep it in the key of C major. So we're going to play a G mixolydian scale. So that's how the modes apply, basically using the same key, and as the chord changes, the most relevant note then changes within that key. So we have C major is the key. Over a C chord, the C is the most relevant note. Over the F, F is the most relevant note, so we start and end the scale on F, giving us F Lydian. And when G major is the chord, we start and end the scale on G, giving us the key, giving us the scale of G mixolydian. Let's take a look at the natural modes and their organization. So we start with we'll start with F Lydian actually, and flatting the seventh relative to C, we would end up on C Ionian, C major. Then we go up again the fifth. We're going around the cycle of natural fifths. So the cycle goes from C to G. Now we have G mixolydian. We go around the cycle around up a fifth to D. Now we have D Dorian. And up a fifth again to A Aeolian, or also A minor. Up a fifth we get E Phrygian. And up a fifth again we get B Locrian. Then if we go up a natural fifth from B Locrian, we come back to C major. Sorry, we go back to F Lydian. From B Locrian we go to F Lydian. There's a mosquito eating me. So the cycle of natural fifths leads us with the progression where modes change from one mode to the next by changing one note but keeping the rest of the form intact. This is different than changing the notes one note at a time to cycle through the modes starting from the beginning, say C Ionian, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, G mixolydian, and that way of changing the modes one note at a time is changing the entire form of the scale. The application that's possible with this is the use of mathematically distinguishing the scales apart from each other by changing one note at a time. If this is done too much, it can certainly muddy the waters, but here's an example. If we have a C major chord, we can use the C major scale. We could also improvise the mixolydian mode, C mixolydian, or we could improvise the Lydian mode, C Lydian. If we play these three scales together, in other words, the parent scale C Ionian and the brother and sister scales, the most closely related, only one note differing, with the same form, then we have sort of a bebop scale. That we can play over our C major chord. Now this is not the most useful scale you'll ever hear by far. It's only something that application using bits and pieces of it at a time might be beneficial to add certain flavors to your solo or to your lead lines. Not the best sounding scale, arguably. So that's the three closest modes to C major. If we take A minor, again we have a brother and sister scale from the A minor scale. We have a closely related A Phrygian scale, and also, again, closely related A Dorian scale. If we play these three scales together, again we get sort of a muddy combination of scales that sounds like this. So this is something that you can use tastefully, hopefully, to draw different scales in from the one scale that you may be using now. It allows you to add two chromatic tones that are outside of the initial church mode that you're in, without straying far from the form, without straying into notes that are sour or completely egregious. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, email me, give me a call. I mean, it's the social media age, so I'm not hiding. I don't know what to say.